Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is not a masterpiece. Whoa, don't meet me please, let me explain. The thing is, the game just couldn't make me fall in love with turn-based combat in the style of classic JRPGs. I always had trouble with the genre. At first, it all seems great, flashy attacks, interesting progression, memorable bosses, but the deeper you go, the more you end up repeating the same actions, the same tactics in every battle. It starts to get tedious. The game throws wave after wave of identical mobs at you and it just becomes exhausting. When the same enemies keep popping up again and again, it creates a feeling of emptiness. Now let's talk about our French game. I want to start with the prologue and share my impressions. It immediately pulls you in, the stakes rise quickly and doesn't drag its feet with the intro. The world is essentially post-apocalyptic, dark, fantastical, full of anxiety and despair. The story of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 unfolds in a world where humanity lives in constant fear of a powerful and mysterious figure, the Paintress. Every year, she paints numbers on her magical canvas, and anyone whose age appears on it died without any chance of escape. When the number 33 comes up, the main character's wife disappears, and that's a brutal, emotional start. The game grabs you by the collar and drags you forward. You want to reach the painter as soon as possible and give her a piece of your mind. Besides the impressive prologue, I didn't expect the combo system to be so hard to grasp at the start, especially the dodging and parrying. I keep losing to Mael over and over. Beating her is optional, of course, but I thought, if I'm already struggling this much here, what's going to be like later? And just when I thought that was the end of my suffering, nope. I encountered the first optional boss and he was absolutely punishing. I kept yelling to myself, I press it. After about 20 tries, I finally beat him and the joy was unbelievable. First optional boss down. With each new enemy, you start to learn their moves, adapt and sharpen your reflexes. I say that's the core of the game. Tactics and building your character matter, but they take a backseat to the dodging and parrying. That's where the real essence of combat lies. The atmosphere in Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a rare blend of darkness, tragedy and poetic beauty. It feels like it stepped off the pages of a surrealist novel or came alive in the paintings of symbolists and impressionists. The game that comes to mind here is the Final Fantasy X. It's also visually beautiful and surreal in its own way. Of course, everything looks gorgeous, but the level design makes it easy to get lost to the repetitive environments. Sometimes visual cues like lanterns help, but they're not always here. This makes exploration feel unrewarding, it's just too easy to get disorientated. So I never really went out of my way to hunt for loot, I only pick it up if I stumbled across it. On these levels you find money as well as journals from other expeditions. Visually it's impactful to see so many bodies, but unfortunately the text itself contains almost no useful information, so I often skipped reading the notes. You also find pictures, special symbols or paintings that represent passive abilities. You can combine, equip and upgrade shaping your combat style and tactical approach. You can equip up to 3 pictures and each picture is initially tied to a specific character, but after 4 battles with that picture you unlock its passive effect, allowing other party members to use it too, provided you spend a resource called Lumina. Lumina is earned by using pictures or finding them in the world. Pictures are very useful in combat. For example, one picture gives you plus action point if you perfectly dodge an attack. Others are more powerful, like the cheater, which always lets you act twice in a turn, giving a massive advantage. There's a wide variety of pictures, so experimentation is generally fun. The only downside is that all pictures are strictly focused on combat. You won't find role-playing passives like in Western RPGs. Clair Obscur is all about tactical battles, not dialogue trees or social builds. Now, I pressed the game a lot. Initially the combat really does hook you, dodging and parrying feel like a fresh twist on the usual JRPG formula, but unfortunately it started to wear its own time. Battles become more predictable, dodge, exploit an enemy's elemental weakness, fill up the stagger bar, and then rotate through your party abilities. With Mael, for example, I almost always start with the fire attack, then use a follow-up skill that triggers a plus 200% damage stance when the target is burning, and refried, same pattern. I especially got burned out towards the end of Act 2 when I had to slog through a frustration dungeon. For some reason they brought back enemies from Act 1 and fighting them again was just unpleasant. Sure, you could skip them, but ultimately they feel like filler before the next boss. It would have been better if these fights were cut down or removed entirely. You must say, just few chapters or respect and I did, but it didn't help much. Maybe I got bored because I simply don't like turn-based JRPG combat as I mentioned earlier. What kept me going was the desire to find out what happened next, why everything was happening. That's what made finishing the game worth it. The story is pretty emotional, so I can absolutely understand people who might bounce off it. The focus here on the feelings and personal struggles, not a deep world or sweeping lore. Don't expect something like Baldur's Gate 3. The plot is simple, you fight your way through enemies as you close in on main antagonist. Occasionally there are touching and powerful story moments. You'll be accompanied through the game by party dialogue, and that's one of the game's strongest aspects. The conversations feel natural and genuine, with characters speaking like real people. As for the thematic direction, I love it. I enjoy stories centered around psychology and emotion, but honestly I can also understand anyone who might want to throw the monitor out the window after some events. And the music, I think everyone can agree, is absolutely brilliant. I enjoyed almost every track. The soundtrack is incredibly diverse, from gentle ballads to jazz and sweeping orchestral scores. There's something here for everyone. Overall, I like the game. The story is strong and the music is fantastic, but unfortunately the level design suffers from repetitiveness and the combat system becomes tiresome after around 10 hours. Yes, the bosses are generally very well done, they have unique mechanics. For example, the fight with Nevron, called the Ballerina, feel like a true dance. It was awesome, but between boss, I was often just bored, running through similar environments, fighting the same enemies over and over, and apart from combat, there's not much else to do in the game. The Gestral village probably stands out the most in terms of content. It's the only place that feels alive, where you can actually chat with people. The rest of the world is dead, which yes, fit the story, but they could handle it better.